Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm so excited for season 2 and the great guests you're going to hear from, their struggles, how they overcame their struggles, their triumphs. Through personal and business life, I think they're tied together, and we're going to share great stories about that. This show isn't just about me. It takes a lot of good people working with me. Among them is my partner, H7 Network, and Clay Hicks. Building relationships, building community is the mission of H7 Network. They want to create a network of champions where everybody wins. Find out more at h7network.com. And we hope to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you through our show. Enjoy the show. We'll talk to you on the other side. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. And this is part 2 with Max Lambright. We're going to get into some things that servants should do and some powerful things about my new sponsor, H7 Network, and how it's helped his business grow. Max, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. Congratulations on the sponsorship. We couldn't ask to have a better sponsor for you or have a better sponsor for this episode, could we?
No, it's a perfect fit, and I'm excited. These next 3 months are going to be awesome. And thank you for saying all that. I want to jump in an executive's chair because I'm very excited about what you're doing here. Let's talk more about what the goal is with the company.
The goal of the executive's chair is to provide a safe community for CEOs and next generation, what we call aspiring CEOs or leaders of small and medium businesses, where they can gather to get the support, the resources, the coaching, the mentoring, the education, all of those things, again, in a safe environment, safe community, safe environment online that's accessible, available, and most importantly, affordable. Because that's a big issue right now with getting coaching and mentoring in small and medium businesses, especially with what's going on with the economy. My history is as you know, we talked before, I'm a multi-time CEO, and there were times when I couldn't get coaching or support for what I was doing. I was supposed to have all the answers. I was there all alone on the other side of what we call the other side of the desk, and ownership or investors or board would not approve the financial resources to get me the support that I really needed. And every CEO needs support. Every CEO needs coach. Every leader needs a coach. So we've decided to put this together. We've built out this community and to make it affordable, available, and accessible. And again, I'm using this term a lot, safe environment for those leaders of small and medium businesses who recognize they need that help.
What problem is the executive chair going to solve?
Multiple problems, Steve. First of all is CEO of any business is the loneliest job in the world. And if it sounds dramatic, but Mary Barra, who is the current CEO of General Motors, got promoted to that role, CEO. She was president of the truck division from GM. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of employees working for her. All right. Billions of dollars in business. She said the most surprising thing to her when she got promoted was she had no peer. Now, that doesn't mean she didn't have any equals, all right, in talent or capabilities. She didn't have anybody she could turn to and bounce problems off or talk about situations. Everybody was reporting to her. So if that problem is that prevalent at General Motors, think about how prevalent it is in small and medium businesses. It's the loneliest job in the world.
Go ahead.
There are no CEO schools, Steve. You can get an MBA. I mean, you can go to school, get your MBA degree and learn management techniques and skills. There are no CEO schools. You learn the hard way on the job. All right. And we've talked about this before, we're going to hammer this home, depending on which survey or study you believe, 30 to 70% of new CEOs will not last 18 months. They will fail. that's extraordinarily disruptive to the organization, extraordinarily costly to the organization, and devastating to the individual CEO.
And that affects the CEO because they've lost a job, affects the company. So now you got a company scrambling and maybe not surviving.
Right.
So let's walk through the journey of the executive chair. I become a member of the executive chair. What can I expect and what can I receive?
All right. Now it is an online community, but you have direct access to what we call the senior leadership team within the executive chair. I'm surrounded by, and I know this sounds like hyperbole, it sounds like a marketing message, but I am surrounded by the best team I've ever been surrounded by before. I have the title of CEO. We are partners, though, my senior leadership team, because I told them in the beginning, we're going to be equals in this because I'm not interested in having a top-down type of organization anymore. I want your voice. I want your expertise. I want your experience. I want your insight, and I want you to have absolutely no barriers or restraints from communicating that. So I'm surrounded by the best team I've ever had. You know all of them. You've met with all of them. You know how capable they are. I mean, the quick story is that I met them all through H7, just like I met you. So here's the first plug for H7 today. All right. So I was talking to one of them, my true business partner, Vic Freyloff, who you've had on the show before. And I said, Victor, if I was 20 years younger and I had this team supporting me, I'd start a new company. He said, well, why don't we? Well, 2 months, it was about 3 months ago, and now we're up and flying already. It's just been amazing, the velocity and the quality of what these folks have brought to the table. So we're surrounded by those teams. So if you, as a new member, you get direct access to all those members of the team. All right. There is, Vic Freyloff, who is mindset and sales, Nick Sallers, who is ex-CEO, still a CEO, but a CEO in the medical field, but also a sales guru. You've got Nicole Glover, who, as you know, is a rock star when it comes to medium and larger size organization turnaround marketing. I mean, she's turned around morbid companies that were floundering at $100 million and turned them into $350 million companies in a couple of years. And that was in the heavy equipment industry. I mean, that wasn't software. That wasn't, crypto. I mean, that was hardcore going out and selling diggers and excavators and stuff like that. She's a rock star. We got, Chuck Scherenberg, who's an infrastructure guy, got decades of experience doing that. I've had a little bit of experience there too. So you get direct access to us, but every week there's going to be multiple opportunities for everyone in the group to access and learn from us. I'll be teaching every single week the roadmap that any CEO can utilize, that implement, to turn their organization, transform their organization from wherever they are into what we call a world-class organization. All right. And we actually will define what a world-class organization is. And there'll be strategies and the tactics. This is not going to be what to do only. It's going to be how to do it. And then they're going to have access to us so that we can walk with you along the way. The other thing there's going to be is what we call Ask Me Anything. All right. Once a week, open session, me, Victor, Nick, Nicole, going to be on the Zoom call. Ask us anything. We do this in the corner office at H7 right now, and this has been a hit, Steve. I mean, the audience loves it. They come prepared. This is what I'm dealing with. How do I deal with this? And we don't give them, pie in the sky baloney strategy. I mean, boom, do this, boom, do this, boom, do this. He had a young man, I'll give you a story here. I know I'm rambling on here, but a young man new to H7, under 25 years old. I met with him. He said, I'm sending out 2,500 emails a day. I'm not exaggerating here. He's blasting them out. He's got less than 1% open rate or response rate. Now, I don't know all those details about all that stuff. I don't do that kind of stuff. The other guys that I'm surrounding myself know all about that. He said, what's my problem? I said, let me see your email message. let's just say it wasn't the most optimized messaging. Okay, we'll be kind here. I said, do you mind if I just take a, gut a deer on this and start using my red pen on this? He said, no, would you please do that? Turned it around, got him to 2 sentences. He started blasting it out. He went from 0%, less than 1%, basically 0% to 5% open rate, within 3 days. The guy was just ecstatic. I mean, so he's now got, he told me he's now appointment loaded for the next 3 weeks. And that's the kind of help that we will give, on a basis. And then the most important thing, and I'll stop with this here, is the actual community itself. All right. You have to apply to become a member of the executive's chair. You can't just, log on to the internet, give us your credit card or whatever and get in. You have to go through the process of, we're going to let you in here because the community is the most valuable asset we have. And we are going to be very protective of that and very discerning about who gets access to that. Go back, I think I've hit it now 4 times. It's going to be safe for members because that's so important to a C-level executive, that I'm going to be in a place that's safe, that I'm not going to get pounded by people trying to pitch me on crap and stuff like that. Because you know how much you and I get pounded on a daily basis with this stuff. We're not going to allow that whatsoever. So that's going to be behind the security. It's all set up with our platform. And we are not going to just go for the bucks here. We are going for quality, not quantity. So
your team is incredible. I've met all of them. They're all going to be on my show, but I'm liking the community aspect, the mastermind. So what I'm visioning, and tell me if I'm correct here, Max, is there's 20 people there, you 5 and 15 CEOs or 10 CEOs, but they're going to ask you a question, but those other people are going to hear the same question, go, man, that same thing happened to me. Oh, Max, do it this way. Correct?
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, that's a powerful tool.
They're going to be able to engage as well. Now, the one thing you brought up there that I didn't talk about there, because, it's another one of our services, is they are going to be masterminds that we're going to let the guests actually create their own masterminds. We're going to be involved from a moderation standpoint, but let's just say there are 6 individuals that are in the manufacturing space, heavy equipment manufacturing space. Just pull an example out of the air. They can add, they're not in competition with each other. So they can add a lot to each other. This is what I'm dealing with here. I got a bad employer. I got a board member. It's a pain in the butt. How do I do with it? So you get that resource of the other members in your mastermind. You get to be friends with them. You get to be, feel comfortable sharing, being vulnerable. And it is so hard for C-suite individuals to be vulnerable because there's this image, this facade that we have to have all the answers and we can't show any weakness whatsoever. And that's why there's so much challenges from a physical standpoint, from an addiction standpoint, from a mental health standpoint. And there's a lot of broken homes. There's a lot of broken marriages. And it could be a miserable job at times, Steve.
Broken bodies too. Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to provide we can't solve the entire problem. We're not trying to boil the ocean here, but we're trying to provide a resource and a new model for something that's truly needed out there.
It sounds incredible. And I know it's incredible, but there's might be a listener out there going, I love what I'm hearing, Max, but how can you do this? What is your experience that can lead me to be a better CEO?
Well, this is the 8th time I've been a CEO, first of all. I have been successful at it, and I've had I failed at it. I'll be honest. I had some rough times at it. I've done turnarounds. I've done family-owned. I've done PE-backed. I've done some VC work. I've dealt with the banks and the SBA and all that other stuff. And so I've learned what to do, but more importantly, I've learned what not to do. All right. And that to me, there's a difference. People say, oh, you're just going to have another executive coaching. and that's not that we're going to coach. There's no question about that. But what's different here is we're mentoring. Everybody on the senior leadership team has been there and done it for a long time. That's different. Okay. And, I've talked to you about this before. There's a huge need out there for executive coaches, qualified quality executive coaches. All right. But why, if you were a CEO, would you hire a coach that hadn't been a CEO before? Hadn't laid awake at night on Thursday wondering if the payroll is going to clear tomorrow. Okay. Haven't gone home and told your spouse or your partner, look, we're not getting a check this week or this pay period because we got to take care of the folks out on the floor. And if somebody's out there saying, oh, that doesn't happen, trust me, that happens all the time. And as a CEO, it truly is on you. All right. If you're not hitting your numbers and you're not doing the job, the board or the owners aren't calling out your VP of sales or your CFO. Why aren't you getting the results that we hired you for?
You said something that was really important. I wanted you to say, and you did, is you've lived it. Mm-hmm. You guys have seen all the ups and downs. Mm-hmm. That's a mentor. I can't fix an engine and just go fix an engine. I don't know what to do. I have to learn. Yep. But it's exciting to hear a new CEO of a startup comes and joins the executive chair and gets all this information as they're building their company. It's got to move them forward faster, I would think.
You're right. It would. Every new CEO, well, there's really two separate audiences here, but let's talk about them both. Do we have time to do this?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay. The first audience is those CEOs that are I pull 18 months out of the air. We use that number because nobody hires a CEO on January 1. So you're going to be hired in a stub year. You're going to have 6 months, to find out where the bathroom is and all that good stuff. And then the next calendar or business year is really your proof year. You have to provide the results and show that you're taking the company, you have the vision and you're leading the company on the right path. So those new CEOs are going to experience at least one of these three problems. One is crafting the vision for organic growth that's sustained, profitable, and scalable for the organization. Nobody gets hired to do mergers and acquisitions. And the reality is there's no such thing as a merger. There are only acquisitions. Somebody wins. Okay, somebody buys somebody else. The mergers, that doesn't happen. There's only acquisitions, but no CEO gets hired to do acquisition. They get hired to grow the business. All right, organically. Sell more of our stuff that we've got right now to more new customers. That's what you have to have the vision to do that. The second thing is putting that senior leadership team together. All right, underneath you. Because again, no CEO is hired to run the company. They're hired to grow the company. Your senior leadership is the day-to-day operational backbone of the organization. So you have to have the right people in place, all right, to do that. That's why it's so much fun right now with the executive chair, because I got a senior leadership team that I would take out anywhere right now in any business and put them in place. And I know, we would kick some butt. So we're going to do it now and help other people do it. But that is so challenging to do that. I'm not the best manager in the world. I am certainly not the best finance guy in the world. I certainly am not the best operational guy in the world. But one thing I can do, Steve, is I can put together teams. I mean, kick butt teams. And there is a both a science and an art to do that. That's the most important thing that a new CEO has to be able to do, is put that team together. Because it doesn't matter what your vision is, it doesn't matter how good a leader you are, but if you don't have a team in place, the right team in place to implement your vision and your leadership skills and your capabilities, you're going to fail miserably.
Say goodbye.
The third thing then is dealing with the board or the owners, because that is a struggle for everybody. I don't care who you are. All right. So how do you do that? And that's where I spend most of my time talking to clients is, how do I deal with this? Or, how do I present this? It doesn't seem to be resonating. And it's spent a lot of time. And I learned the hard way too. I mean, I got my butt handed to me so many times in board meetings and presentations that it just wasn't what they wanted to hear or presented in the way they wanted to hear it. So,
challenge.
That's a resource that I truly do bring to this picture.
And those are guys you want to keep happy, because if they're not happy, problems will, right? I mean, I'm not a CEO, but I could figure that out. It's like they're paying your bills, basically. They're keeping you afloat.
Well, I'm not trying to be flip here at all, but you're going to be experiencing that now because, deservedly so, you're bringing on sponsors. They've got expectations. Yep. In a way, they're almost going to be your board going forward here, Steve. And you're going to have to be able to, provide the kind of results they're looking for and communicate it in the manner they're looking for. So don't, you're going to have a few challenges to face here going forward, sir.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that. And it's a good reminder for me, anybody else there as a podcast with a sponsorship, and reach out to Max and learn more about that, because you're right. I have a business, and right now my boss is Clay with H7 Network. It's we're working together, partnering, but I'm helping him out. Let's do a quick shout out. How can they get a hold of you if they have any questions about the executive chair or talk to you?
Max at executiveschair.com. That's
super simple.
Just, real easy, make it real simple. And, all they got to do is say they heard us talking today. And I'll give them an hour free. It's only going to take 15 minutes for them and me to decide whether it's worthwhile to go forward. I mean, it doesn't take that long. I never believed in one call closing, and I know there's people out there do it and they're very good, but I didn't believe in it. Last week, and there's no baloney, I had 3 discovery calls or whatever with prospective members of the executive chair, and they all 3 said, okay, I'm in. One call. I talked to a woman who I'd never met before. She called absolutely cold out of the blue. And I said, well, here's what we're doing. She says, I'm in. I said, well, don't you want to hear about the cost? Don't you want to hear about it? She said, no, I'm in. And here I am, the guy that's been on the cover of Sales and Marketing Management magazine, forgetting the number 1 rule. When the customer says I'll buy, shut the hell up. And I'm keep talking. I go, oh, are you sure you want to do this? I'm in. Okay, just tell me what to do. I'm done.
That's your servant's heart, which is why we've connected so well. You want to make sure it's a fit. It's not you don't want the sale, but you don't want XYZ lady to come in and go, oh, this is what you told, we always worry about, but you're right. Get that link up and get them signed up that's a great lesson, audience. If you're selling anything, product or service. We ran out of time, but let's talk about our last podcast. You mentioned a phrase that I tell everybody about. You're the CEO of your life. What does that mean? What does the audience hear from that?
Real quickly here, this is what I believe. And you can argue with me if you want. I don't think you'll have a very good argument. We are not put here at this time to suck up other people's oxygen. We are here for a purpose. The creator, however you want to envision the creator, has put us here to, in some small way, make this world a better place. That's our purpose here, to figure out how you and I and everybody who's listening to us can make this world a better place. All right. I believe you do it by becoming CEO of your own life. All right. You do it by the things I talked about, the problems that new CEOs have is growth, team, which is really culture, and then leadership. So if you apply that to your life, is how do you grow yourself? Because we can't make the world a better place if we're not growing ourselves. If you're not growing, you're dying. I used to use that line. I don't use it anymore. I'm too old to hire, too young to retire, because now, they hired me. As soon as I thought I was out, they bring me back in again. So they hired me again to be CEO. So I can't use that. But when you retire, that's when you really start dying. And I refuse to do that, Steve. I'll be 67 next month. I'm not looking to retire at all. I'm never been this invigorated and having this much fun in my life. And that's absolute truth. So you want to grow yourself, but you also want to grow those people around you that are so important to you. All right. And if you have a purpose, a defined purpose, you want to grow that as well. The other thing that you have to do is the culture. Surround yourself with excellence. Those are the friends, Those are your business partners. Those are the people you go to the senior center with, or where you volunteer, whatever. I mean, it's surrounding myself with folks like you and the team that I've got at the executive chair and the folks that we meet at H7. And the third thing is you want to build something. You want to be engaged something where you build something that's bigger than yourselves. And that's what we're doing with the executive chair. You do that by three things. You do, you teach, and you leave behind. I've done it. And now I get to do it again. Now I'm teaching other people how to do it, how to be a good CEO, how to be a great CEO, how to build a world-class organization. These kids on my leadership team that we talked about, and they're kids to me. They're having fun learning from the old man, and I'm learning from them every single day. So I'm teaching. And then we talked about, when you go to the movies, you watch the credits, you see all the people that are involved in the movie. Well, the credits in your life are all the people you're involved with, your family, your friends, your loved ones, the people you work with, the people you serve. But in life, we don't get to see the credits. You have to leave it behind. So you focus on the doing and you focus on the teaching, and you let the rest of it go. And that's how you become CEO of your life.
Well said. And like I said, audience, I share that with everybody. Listen to this again if you need to get all those. Those are great tips for personal or professional. It goes all across the spectrum. Max, I want to thank you again. You did better in your last show, and your show was astounding. This is so much great information. You guys, Nick, Victor, Nicole, Chuck, and you are really serving the CEOs. And I think that's the breadbone of this world. This United States, we need to make better CEOs to make a better world. I know you agree with that. The last bit of advice, and I'll let you finish with, what's 2 or 3 sentences you can say about H7?
Oh, first of all, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for H7. I met you through H7. I met all of my senior leadership team through H7. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask for. I've been in this organization less than a year. I've met 125 people that I would love to do business with that have been so supportive and so giving. I've gotten business out of H7. I know that's not the intent. The intent is to sell through the room, not to the room. But I've gotten the contacts or the referrals or the introductions that were necessary for me to get business. But most importantly, it's given me a platform to grow, to do, to teach, and to leave behind. I mean, I get to actually do what I talk to you about, and everybody that joins that organization gets to do that as well. All right. I mean, neither one of us could ever figure a way in a billion years to put together the relationships we've built based out of our membership at H7. You and I would never met. All right. This team I'm working with would have never met. All these people that you're in, I don't know how many H7 members you've had on your show so far, but you're going to have a bunch more with the sponsorship. So, if you truly want to build a network and you're focused on B2B, give it a shot. I mean, I'm rarely speechless, but when it comes to H7, I'm almost speechless what the benefits are, Steve. I'm not sure I did a very good job there, but none of this would have happened without H7. I owe Clay Hicks a debt I can never repay.